Welcome to a special breaking news episode of Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning. I'm Tom Orr, joined by Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeHuddle.com. Tony, it is transfer portal season. It is officially transfer portal season. Not only do we have not the first transfer of the season, we have not even the first wide receiver transfer of the season. Kojo Antwi, 3 years in Columbus, now headed into the portal.
Yeah, redshirt sophomore, played very little, hits the portal. Another one where is it a year after we thought maybe it would be because of so little playing time his first couple of years. And now, I mean, this one makes sense to all of us. And again, I mean, it's a depth piece that they now need to fix, because even though he hasn't played much this season, you're losing players. And so you're losing numbers, and they've got to replace those numbers. But yeah, a guy that reminded me a bit of like KJ Hill when he signed, and nothing, like, not a burner, not the biggest guy, but could get open, can do some things after the catch, but it's never took on here at Ohio State.
Didn't they both wear number 14?
Yep.
Okay, so this may have been...
this is not confirmation. This is in high school.
Okay. I was going to say, this is a little like the Jayden Ballard, Devin Smith conversation we had. But yeah, it was one where the 2022 recruiting class, they brought in 4 wide receivers, and none of them panned out. Like, not even like, well, sort of, kind of, like, not even a little bit. Well,
and you had Caleb Burton, who was a top 100 guy for a while. He was a 5-star guy, as a sophomore or junior. Caleb Brown, who was a top 100 guy. Keon Grays, who was like top 200. And then Kojo Antwi, who was around there as well, at top 300-ish. And then now you're left with none of them. They're all gone. Only 3 of them caught passes. Well, all three of them caught a pass. So there's not even a plural there.
Man.
3 catches for 15 yards for that entire foursome. Kojo Antwi with 1 for 8. Caleb Brown had 1 catch, and Keon Grace had 1 catch in their careers. And that's those guys, that class, they're going to be seniors on the 2025 team. And there's no senior class on the 2025 team of receivers. Yeah, it's great you got Jeremiah Smith. It's great that you got Caleb, or you've got Darnell Tate, and you've got Brandon Innes. But when you lose an entire senior class at any position, even at Ohio State, we don't, seniors, juniors leave and you replace them. Not everybody leaves as a junior. Sometimes when they leave as freshmen and sophomores, it takes a toll.
Well, it does become a depth question at this point, because now you had Bryson Rogers go in the portal last year, and then he came back, and you look at that, and it's like, oh boy, that's real big to have Bryson Rogers back, because now going in next year, you figure you're losing Emeka Egbuka, but you have Darnell Tate, you have Brandon Innes, you have Jeremiah Smith. Those are probably your, certainly 3 guys who are absolutely in the mix, if not your 3 starters. You keep Bryson Rogers, that's 4. They don't need that much. They don't need 9 guys. And they brought in, 3 receivers in this class?
And you've got Mylan Graham and Damarian Witten in the 2024 class.
Yeah, and Mylan Graham, a former 5-star guy. No, he really didn't play much at all. But you have him, you've got Damarian Witten, who really didn't play at all. But you've got 3 now guys coming in this year. I do wonder if that's a spot where they look at someone in the portal, and can you find, you're not looking for like the Gunnar Hope Chris Chugginoff necessarily, but you're looking for a guy is there a guy from the MAC who is okay with like a Will Kazmarek thing, where you come in and you're not necessarily going to get all of the snaps, but you find a guy who can be a good, solid veteran piece, because otherwise you're really behind those 4 guys we talked about. You're really relying on nothing but guys who haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and it's 4 guys in this class with Phillip Bell, Z Jones, Quincy Porter, and Bob Miller. Bob Miller is going to take some time playing quarterback and developing into a receiver. So much of the depth is the young guys, and that's a tough position to be in when you're going to have 6 guys on the team who have really never done anything, who have freshman eligibility. And so Brian Hartline does not like to go into the portal, has only gone into the portal once for his own guy. It wouldn't shock me if they go find a veteran presence, or maybe a young guy that got away. Micah Hudson, Texas Tech freshman into the portal, was a 5-star complete stud, but had a difficult freshman year with injuries. Like, do they do something like that, where Larry Johnson would get back on the phone with the guys who, like Antoine Jackson, who got away, and now, hey, how's it going? Would you like to, you like to hear Caleb Downs. I mean, there's another good example of that. But, they'll have numbers, but do they have the numbers that they want at the top?
Right. You could have, in terms of just bodies in that room, yeah, absolutely. In terms of guys who are ready to contribute, if someone gets hurt in fall camp, which happens sometimes, you got to have more than 3 healthy guys who have played before. Because it's great to say, why don't they just pull another Jeremiah Smith out? It's like, well, they did that. The next one's going to come around in about 25 to 30 years. So that was last year's solution.
That's Chris Henry.
Yeah. Next year, you maybe can do that with Chris Henry. Mylan Graham, we'll see. Mylan Graham didn't play a whole heck of a lot this year. The talent is there, but you didn't see a lot. Micah Hudson at Texas Tech, he really didn't play a whole heck of a lot. The talent is there, and I know part of it was injuries, but I don't think it was entirely injuries. So, okay, I will raise my hand and confess that I did not watch Texas Tech football completely, very closely this year. Is he just an immediate, he used to be a 5-star, so obviously he's amazing. I don't know. You have seen 5-stars transfer away from Ohio State before, and it's like, well, that guy's never going to play, and then that guy never plays. But you see wherever he transferred to going, oh my gosh, he was a 5-star. And it's like, sometimes that works great, and sometimes you get Caleb Downs, and sometimes you get Tyreek Johnson.
I was just going to say, do you remember the excitement from the Nebraska fans when it was 5-star cornerback Tyreek Johnson transferring? And there's the recruiting rankings, and then there's the reality of why haven't you played? Why weren't you as good as advertised? Other than the fact that I was a true freshman. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
But
that's absolutely true with someone like Micah Hudson or someone like Mylan Graham, where the expectation is not Jeremiah Smith. Brandon Inniss, we're talking about Brandon Inniss as one of the sort of proven things going into next year. Brandon Inniss had 1 catch last year. Now, it was a long one against Purdue, but he had 1 catch. Sometimes you get 1 catch and it's like, well, here's a portent of things to come. And sometimes you get 1 catch and it's like, well, and then he'll be in the portal in 2 years. And you don't necessarily know, because it's such a long and winding path, and physical development and being willing to put in the work to work on the little stuff. All of that stuff factors in.
I will say, I do really like Quincy Porter, who's like 6'4", 200 pounds. And Ryan Day talked about how, they don't really recruit guys like him. They haven't gotten guys like him. He's like, well, Jeremiah Smith. And then like Quincy Porter will, he'll get stronger, he'll get faster. That's what it takes for those bigger guys. Jeremiah Smith is different. Like, he's like acknowledged, like, all of that stuff that we're talking about with Quincy Porter, like, that does not apply to Jeremiah Smith. He's already as fast as he needs to be, as big as he needs to be, as strong as he needs to be. Quincy Porter will take some time to get up to speed, literally, figuratively.
Yeah, they have cashed in their Jeremiah Smith. They will not get another Jeremiah Smith for at least a generation or so. Maybe Jeremiah Smith Jr. Jeremiah Smith does have a younger brother. I don't know if Jeremiah Smith's younger brother will be able to live up to Jeremiah Smith's standard, but that's okay. They have 1. Don't get greedy. Kojo Antwi does hit the transfer portal. Not something that's going to make a massive impact in terms of this year's playoff run, but something that could, impact the depth a little bit for next year, and we'll see how that all plays out. So we'll continue covering. Sure, this will not be the last transfer portal breaking news podcast we do. We'll have more of these coming up for you, but thank you guys all for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. Also, make sure you check us out at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That's where Tony, Kevin, and I cover the team. Mark covers recruiting. Got our whole team of X's and O's gurus there. Make you a smarter football fan, all at BuckeyeHuddle.com.